Thank you for joining in, guys. This is the Institute of Austrian Economics, and we will be discussing Man, Economy, and State by Murray Rothbard. We will be revising chapter 1 to 2, and if possible, if we get time, we will be discussing the chapter 3 as well. Austrian economics, it differs from the mainstream economics, and there are certain things by which it differs from the mainstream economics. Uh, can you guys put your microphone on mute because I'm getting a lot of feedback? Thanks. So, if we look at the history of economics, uh, there are three distinct eras or revolutions, I can say. First is the classical revolution, where Adam Smith started on, with a proper treatise on economics with his two books. And then we had the marginal revolution, where I would say that Austrian economics actually started or came into existence. And even economics changed into from the classical to neoclassical theories. And thereafter, we have the Keynesian revolution, which came in after during the World War, after World War II. Basically, when the Adam Smith or initially the economist had a view that there is inherent value in material or in goods, and that is and using that theory to try to explain prices and the prices and exchanges between people and nation. After that, they hit some roadblocks where they couldn't explain how market prices keep on changing, why people value goods, why are certain goods which are completely useless or doesn't have an essential use for human beings, like diamond against water. And they couldn't explain like why water is so cheap and why diamond is so costly comparative to water. They couldn't understand the price and the value using the utility theory, like goods have utilities, and that determines their prices. So they couldn't find the correlation between that, and they used to think it was a paradox. But we got during the marginal revolution, Karl Menger, Jevons, they understood that it's not the material or the good which itself has value, but values are it's the individuals or people value this good, and it's subjective to individual. So Menger started developing these theories from entirely from the subjective part, like how we have a scale of value and how this scale of values roll into prices, and why do we exchange different goods between one another, and what are the laws governing this entire value theory. So after that, during the depression and the recession period, there was something which was going on with the industrial revolution, was inflation and business cycles, bank runs, and shortage of capital. And there was a lot of income disparities going on, and they couldn't understand like what was the behavior behind it. Subjectivism itself was, they couldn't understand it. So at that point of time, Keynes started coming up with his theory. He started there was a problem with the gold standard, with the silver standard as well. There were certain countries on silver standard, like India was on silver standard, and there were a lot of new silver resources which were found out. So there was instability between the exchange prices of silver currency as with silver standard with against the gold standard. So Keynes suggested that it's not, we don't need to keep gold reserve, and he came up with the general theory of money and credit, where where he proposed that the money can be completely fiat, and and if they take care of employment, and if government spends and keeps spending, then the economy can be revived because there is a capital shortage. So that's the three revolution. Austrian economics will basically revolve around, it has a different method. Neoclassicals or the classicals have different method towards economics, and the Keynesians have different method. The methodology that we use is it's called as methodological individualism and methodological subjectivism. And we use something which is called as praxeology. Praxeology is the science of human action. We study human action. So this is where we will start the book with. But let me also highlight certain differences between the neoclassical and the Keynesians as well. Uh, the neoclassicals, they believe in individual. The neoclassicals, not the classicals. Classicals had a holistic view of the society, like they used to take nation, or they used to take the entire society as a holistic thing. But the neoclassical, after the marginal revolution, they came to know about utility theory, and they started their methodology is basically trying to uh, prove certain thing or test certain thing using methodology like which is used in the natural sciences. Like if you have a theory, you need to test it. Uh, so you have to quantify it basically. So their theories will revolve around supply, demand, and it's basically more about the supply side. If you keep on supplying goods, more goods, then it will take care of your prices and stuff. Uh, what they do is basically they try to measure what is immeasurable. Like they try to find out why there is a price difference between two different commodities, and they try to come up. They use something called as a Walrasian equilibrium. They try to see the economy like in a state of order, and how much it deviates from the ordered state. Uh, so they use simultaneous equations and derivatives to to aggregate certain things and find out these differences between price and stuff. Like supply and demand itself is a kind of an aggregate if we if in from their perspective. From our perspective, it's from the Austrians' perspective, it's not that kind of an aggregate. There are certain Austrian economists who believe that we can explain entire economics without using the supply and demand or the Marshallian curve. So that's one thing. The Keynesians, they take this Walrasian equilibrium and they aggregate on a very high, they aggregate on a holistic level like GDPs and the employment, the aggregate employment of a particular society or a nation, and they again try to figure out like what is why the changes are happening, what the ideal point should be, and they come up with theories which they try to apply using intervention. So that's basically the the top level, or you can top level differences between them and us. They will be using a lot of derivations and equations to measure difference between the ideal and how much the economy has deviated. We don't do that. We use deductive logic. We use something called as axioms. Axioms are certain premises which we know are self-evident true. Like for example, there is an action axiom, the human action axiom, which says that all human action is purposeful behavior, or man behaves purposefully. So he has certain motive or intention to act in a certain way. So this is evident by itself. It's true. It's an a priori what we call this axiom. So this is the first foundation of Austrian economics. Like we use axioms, and axioms was not used by Menger or Bauer. It started with Mises. Mises made. I mean, he developed this particular science called as praxeology, human action. So that's how it all came into existence. So yeah, we will go into the study guide. Murray Rothbard, he wrote this book, Man, Economy and State. It is in 1962, I think. This book is a, when Rothbard was writing this book, he was he was trying to bridge the gap between Austrian neoclassicals and the Chicagoites. So basically, he wrote this book trying to explain neoclassical concepts from the Austrian perspective as well. So here he begins with the first chapter. First chapter is fundamentals of human action. So fundamentals of human action is going to talk about the methodological individualism that I was referring to a while ago. So praxeology is basically the scientific study of human action, where every action is a purposeful behavior. He has a certain ends. Man has certain ends to achieve. He is hungry. He has to find out food. So his end is hunger that he wants to satisfy. He wants to remove that uneasiness, and that is the reason he needs to find some means by which he can find out food. Like he might have to go on for search, or he have to cook certain food which he already possesses, or he may have to go to a restaurant and buy his stuff. So these are different means which takes into the single end. So man, there is also a reason behind his action. So if you see a person like from the action, we can make out like what a person is doing. So if you see a person buying potatoes, we know what that action tells us. Like he is buying a food stuff to meet certain ends. So we can make out from the action of other people like what they might be up to. So as I explained, like we use deductive logic instead of probabilities, where we use an inductive logic to take some probable factors and we create some hypothesis. Deductive is basically we take two premises to be true, and we assume that the conclusion that we are going to draw by the logical interpretation of the two premises, that our conclusion will be true itself. So as praxeologists, we try to figure out like what these laws are in nature. Like Menger said that everything that we do, that the law of cause and effect is true for economics and natural science as well. So we use that. There are interpersonal exchanges or choices that human beings have. We make choices for between which means to choose to reach our end, which end should we give up, and which end should we pursue to remove certain satisfaction. So all actions which involves certain exchanges, certain choices, and different actors are going to act differently to remove their dissatisfaction. And there is a psychic benefit to or what the psychic revenue or the satisfaction that a person gets by pursuing certain when he reaches certain ends. So that is one of the reason why we act. So each person values different thing differently. Like a hungry person would be valuing food more. It will be valuable for him to search for food. A person who is already filled, he might be valuing leisure more. He might be wanting to watch a movie. So in a state of society, there will be different people, different actors, different individuals who will have different scale of values. They would be looking for different things. Like a hungry man, a hungry person would not be able to make out why this person is resting until and unless he understands the value that a person gives to the leisure that he is enjoying at that point of time. So at any point of time, I would like to define economy right now. Economy is something where there has to be two necessary conditions. First condition is that there has to be uncertainty. You are not certain about the future. You do not know what the future is. And the second condition for an economy is that there has to be scarcity. Scarcity in the term that we do not have unlimited supply of our body, right? We do not have unlimited supply of time. We are mortals. So these are two necessary conditions where we will be, we have to economize. If we do not have this condition, like if let's say we had unlimited supply of our bodies, so we can do anything what we want at one particular instance of time. We can send out other parts of our body to do certain things, like one would be searching food, whereas the other part of the body would be enjoying a movie, but that is not possible, right? So that's one thing. The second thing is time, because every action must take place in time, and there is a scarcity of time because you can use one particular unit of time for one pursuing one end, or one to do one thing rather than other. So you you have to make a choice like what you're going to do, you know before the other action. So that's another requirement, that it's another axiom or another condition or environment that we have to take time into account, and Austrians do that. I mean, in every Austrian theory we have an attitude towards time. We consider that time itself is a scarce resource, and there is a scarcity of resource, like there are we want a lot of things to to satisfy our ends, but for every good to for to be able to consume those goods, goods are not naturally available to us. So there is a factor of production, like if you want to eat bread, you have to tilt your land, grow wheat, and then you have to take it to the miller, and you get flour, and then you have a process time of baking the bread, and then only you can consume it. So there is a time factor over there as well. So you have to take due to this, and there are limited resources for production as well. So at any point of time you cannot get whatever you desire, so you have to wait for your time, and you have to there is a scarcity involved in that. uh, if we were in Garden of Eden, where we don't have scarcity, like in a magical world where if you just wish for something and a genie appears and gives you certain things, that stage, that thing would not be an economy. So these are certain conditions for what we call as an economy, and when we are inside an economy, we have to economize our time, our needs, our wants, and we have to prioritize them. So priority of our values, like what we can do with our time and our available resources, is what we call as an actor's scale of value. So do you have any questions so far?
I have no questions, Mithun, but that was really cool. Please continue.
Okay, so the scales of values that we have, for example, if you want to go for a movie and you are hungry as well, and you want to, and there is nothing check your refrigerator or your kitchen, and there is nothing over there to eat. Now you have a conflict between two values, so you're going to arrange your priority, right? Like first, should I have food, or shall I watch the movie and I can delay my, I can, I will do with my hunger, and I will wait for the interval, and then I will eat something. So these are certain choices or scale of value that or decisions that individuals make, right? So so this value scales that we have is arranged like in an ordinal fashion and not in a cardinal fashion. Like we rank it higher to lower, like I will eat right now rather than not rather than waiting for the interval, are two different values, and two different people will judge it in a different, if according to themselves, like whatever their stage is, and we can say nothing about it. So that's the subjective part. uh, and there is no possibility of comparison, like how hungry that person is, and than the other person. We cannot have any measure. We don't have anything to measure it, and we cannot compare it. Maybe both have not eaten for a cup for last 10 hours maybe, but one decides to wait till the in, for the till the interval and not miss the movie. So he values the movie more than his hunger, and the other person might say, "Okay, I will watch the movie next time, and I will go for some food. I will." So he values it in a different way. So so that's how human acts. As I said, that there is an uncertainty, like we do not know what is going to happen. I certainly do not know that if my internet is going to work till the end of this hangout, but I have a belief that it will work, right? Certainly we cannot know the future, but we can imagine it, right? I imagine like saying goodbye to you. So I mean, after this podcast. So that's the belief that makes me act. So that's the belief that is making me work towards a desired end. So that's one part why, that's one thing, that's another factor on why we act, or we have plans, and we have beliefs, we have motivations, we have drives, and this is why we act, or to reach certain desirable end, with the belief that as soon as we reach that end, we will reach we will our, I mean, it's an objective thing that it's going to make our lives better, or it's going to give us satisfaction, it's going to give us peace, or any of those things. But there are certain things that we cannot change. For example, we cannot change the environment that we are in. We cannot change winter into summer. We cannot stop the rain. So we have certain necessary certain conditions which are beyond our control. So we don't think about those. We accept them as to be the necessary conditions that we are in. Uh, yeah, the second part, which I already talked about, is that every action has a duration. Every action takes time. We different individuals have time preferences. We will explore time preference later on in the second chapter. And individuals make decision on the margin. Now, this is also something which I'm going to talk about later on when we talk about the margin diminishing law of marginal utility in the next chapter. And all action involves uncertainty of the future. If future was completely known, if I knew that I'm going to die tomorrow, I'm not going to have this podcast at all. So there is uncertainty, I do not know, so I'm going to deal with it. Entrepreneurship involves coping with this uncertainty by forecasting. Like entrepreneurship, I have certain business plan, I have certain plan of we all are entrepreneurs, so we look at profiting from whatever opportunities that we have, using our belief that yeah, maybe if we do this, it's going to make our lives better. So that is the entrepreneurship action that we each as an individuals we take in when we make when we weight our choices, we make our decisions. When our choices that we have in our mind transforms into actions, the the choice that we took, that's itself is an entrepreneurship action. So yeah, entrepreneurship involves coping with uncertainty by forecasting future conditions, and hence is implicit in every action. So that's the thing. So as praxeologists, when we study this, study action, we look at these factors, like how the individual act, why he is acting, and our methodology is right from the individual's point of view. Like we look at an individual, like let's say if he is stuck in the desert, we can, from sitting in our chairs, we can figure out like what he might, what are his choices, what is his environment, we can make out. and I mean, we can at least imagine, if we even if we do not know what exact state he is in. Uh, but we know, like, if he has to escape that island, he has to survive, and he has to look for resources which are available in on that island. So that is something that we know, like how the person will act. So from the individual's perspective, we understand, like, what their actions can be, and what are the choices, or what are the means that might be available to him. There are certain things which I said as a general condition of the environment. We know that on that island he will have air to breathe, he might have water to drink, or there is land beneath his feet. So these are certain general conditions that we understand that human beings live in. So now this conditions are abundant, like air, water, and I'm not talking about drinking water, but yeah, of course, let's say there's abundant supply of coconut water or something. Uh, so it's available on his disposal. So uh, those goods which are abundant, like air, we don't need to bother about them. We take them to be like, we assume, or we take them for granted. So there is a don't care condition for this kind of goods. And there are certain economists who consider air as goods, and Rothbard doesn't consider it as good, but as a general condition of the environment. So means, when we are talking about means, like, as I said, like, do you have any questions? I sorry, I was not looking at the chat. Amrinder? No? Okay. So when we are talking about means, there is a definite end, right? Like, I gave you the example of bread. So bread is the highest order good, where what we want to consume, or the consumer good. But to produce bread, it has to need some complementary goods. For example, you cannot make bread if you don't have wheat, if you don't have yeast, if you don't have water, if you don't have the utensils, if you don't have the the fuel to heat it up, or to bake the bread, if you don't have an oven. So these are certain goods that you will require to manufacture bread or produce bread. So these are the lower order goods. And to produce oven, you will require steel, which has to come from land, mines. You need wheat, which will come from fields, not and for water you need to fetch up water and everything. So you need different goods to create your consumer good, or the higher order good. And it like from the lower order good. So if you want bread, and let's say we are at the starting point, and you need bread, and you don't have wheat or any of these goods, you have to start right from clearing land, and make it cultivable, and then grow wheat. And then you will search for a mine, and then you will mine steel, you will make an oven, you will search for firewoods, you will search for potable water. This all takes time, right? So for reaching any end, you need to have your complementary goods, and the producer goods, and the capital goods like land, to produce any consumer good. Menger Karl Menger does not use the term producer, consumer, or capital goods, but he uses goods of different order. Different production processes will have different orders, right? For example, you will, for even for tilting the field, you will need tractors and tools, maybe animal like plow, uh, and then you will need human labor. So these are your lower order goods. So this is one stage. So manufacturing of bread may require 3 or 4 stages, and there might be something like maybe going to Mars will require some more steps than involved. There will be more steps involved than what is needed for manufacturing of bread. So different processes will use different order of good from the first to from the lower order to the higher order. The higher order good is what you're going to consume, or which is going to, when I say consumption, it means that you have reached your end by consuming that particular good. Um, so yeah, so uh, if any of this complementary or this producer good is missing, you cannot manufacture your consumer good. For example, if you don't have land, you're not going to, you won't be able to grow wheat. And if you don't have, let's say, water, you're not going to, you won't be able to uh, prepare your dough. And if you don't have fire, you're not you won't be able to bake the bread. And if you don't have yeast, it's not going to ferment itself. So for preparing any higher order good, there is a requirement that you will require lower order good. And not only that, but you also require knowledge to or the technical know-how to convert or how to manufacture bread. I mean, we do not know, like, as human beings, we do not have the knowledge or the recipe to make all kind of goods. Like, I do not know how plastic is made. For instance, I do not know how a microwave oven works. So that recipe is also required. I may buy all the components which are there in required for a microwave oven, but if I do not have the recipe to put it together, I won't be able to make it. So that's another factor which comes into production. Uh, Beside this, there are certain things which are called as complementary goods. For example, if we when I say that I want to grow wheat, there is also a certain something which is called as fertilizers. Now, in the agricultural process, to produce good, it's not necessary that if you don't have fertilizers, you're not going to, you won't be able to grow food at all. Of course, you are going to, of course, you can grow food without the use of fertilizers and pesticides. So that's a complementary good. But that good does add certain value to it does help in the production process by reducing the time or increasing the unit production by of that particular good. For example, in a chemical reaction, if you add a catalyst, it saves you the process time, and also at times the fuel requirement, and thus reducing the cost. So that was the order of goods, mostly that is there. Further implication of time, you need, yeah, here Rothbard introduces the period of production. The period of production has two different time: working time and maturing time. Like, for example, if you're baking something, you have to put certain thing, uh, like you have to expense labor to, to prepare the dough and something, and you will need some maturing time, like you have to give it some time to ferment. So you will keep it idle and wait for the time when the bread is ready to be baked. So this is a production period time, and different goods will have different production time, and this all factors play or influence the prices, and how we make our capital goods, and what the amount of capital goods available, or the amount of consumer goods available in in our economy at that point of time. Any questions? Oh, wow, good, everyone's getting everything. So end and values I have already explained. Like, the value rankings are always ordinal and never cardinal. We cannot say that, for example, if you have $10 and you want to buy apple, you also love grapes, and but and you decide to buy apple, you cannot say that you preferred apple 3 times, 4 times more than grapes, and that is the reason that you purchased, you made that choice. So it's absurd to calculate this kind of differences between two goods or two choices. We cannot equate even grapes to apples or apples to grapes. There is no cardinal differences. We cannot subtract them, we cannot add them, we cannot multiply them. Even even if grapes and apple has the same price in the market, doesn't mean that you can measure them like they are. You cannot consider them to be the same if the per unit per kg price is same, because different people are going to seek different goods, and they will seek them as per their scale of values, not on what prices are established in the market, or something is better scientifically, or people say grapes are more healthy, or sorry, apples are more healthy than grapes. So we don't make choices based on those things, but on the subjective valuation that we uh, give to those goods. So diminishing law of marginal utility. Now every unit that we have, it satisfies certain ends. For example, when we say guns or butter or water, we are not talking about the entire water which is available on the planet, but we are talking about units of water. So whenever we seek whenever we are consuming anything, we consume them in units. We do not have the entire food at one instance of time. We do not we do not we cannot consume anything at just in a in just one unit of time. Excuse me a bit. So for example, if you're thirsty, you're going to drink water. The first unit of water is going to give you most satisfaction, and thereafter, any additional unit that you are going to consume, your satisfaction is going to decrease, right? So it goes on to a point of satiety or satisfaction. uh, for example, the first drop of water will be, it will give you most relief. The first gulp of water, the second gulp of water, and till you have quenched your thirst. And after that, any additional it, drinking of water is not going to make you any better. It's going to make you worse off. So that's how actors work. Like we have a marginal utility. Like every additional utility or additional consumption of a unit is actually going to make you value that good lesser and lesser. For example, if you have a television set, in the first set you're going to put it in your living room. The second set that you have, you might put it in your bedroom. The third, you might put it into your your kids' room. So, but if I ask you what would be the most important television set, if you could just have one, if you have to give away one set, so it might be your kids' room's television set, which might be the least value to you, and you're going to give up. So each unit is actually reducing the requirement of a television set or towards your satisfaction, and you would be then if you compare it with the first television set which is there in your living room. So that's the law of diminishing marginal utility, that every additional unit of any good is going to reduce uh, the the satisfaction that you get from that particular good. Uh, Unit of goods are also, now there is another law. Now this diminishing law of utility is when I'm adding another good, your satisfaction is going down. But there is another law of returns which says that you need to have an optimum amount of a varying factor, and this is applicable to a complement good to understand it. For example, if you are making tea, or if you're making lemonade or something, you put. I'm sorry, are you able to hear me? Okay, Kiran, are you able to hear me? He says that cool. So uh, okay, so I was maybe there is some difficulty with Kiran's Kiran. So yeah, so maybe he will join back. Uh, yeah. So this law of written is where we let's say for example I'm making tea. I have the let me keep the quantity of the milk, water, and the supply of fuel to be to be constant, and let me add in tea leaves, 1 teaspoon of like I'm making 2 cups of tea, let me put in 1 heap of tea leaves. And if so yeah, yeah, I am. So let's say if I'm making tea, first teaspoon that I'm going to add, let's say there is no tea leaves. I have not put in any tea leaves, so it's not going to make tea. So I have to add certain units of some tea leaves into it. Let's say if I add 2 or 3 grains of tea leaves, it's not going to make my tea, right? So I have to increase my the amount of tea leaves into it. Let's say I put in a half heap, so it's going to make tea, right? Or let's say I increase the amount of tea leaves right now. I put in 2, 3, or 4. So it's not going to make tea, but it's going to make something else, right? It's every additional unit of heaps that I'm adding. It's not increasing my value of that good, but it is actually reducing the quality of that tea with every additional unit of that particular good. For example, if I want to wash my clothes, there is an optimum amount of soap powder that we need, that is required. If we are putting in a very concentrated type of soap powder, it's going to actually bleach out the color. So this is the law of written, that every additional unit, after one point, any additional unit is not going to increase your productivity, but it is going to decrease your production. And it is true for complementary goods. For example, if you are using fertilizers, if you add a very, more than the optimum amount of those fertilizers, you're not going to grow anything. It's actually going to reduce or bring down your production. But if you add too little, you would have added fertilizers, but you're not going to get that optimum amount of of that good that you were looking for by adding that fertilizers. The production might remain the same. So the law of return is the optimum factor by which you can, each additional unit brings in that optimum or the maximum amount of production. So that is, that particular unit is what we call as the optimal unit for, that gives you the most returns. So yeah, any questions in this so far? Now there is another. Okay. There is another factor of production is the convertibility and valuation. Uh, we do labor, for example, labor we can use to make tea, we can use to write software code. So these are all human labor, but they differ in degree, right? Like labor is non-specific. You can use labor to produce different kind of goods, but there are certain goods which are specific to certain production. For example, if you want to make diamond ring, you have to use diamond, right? So there is no conversion of that particular thing. So you cannot like, for example, tea leaves can be only used for manufacturing of tea, but it doesn't have any other use. Whereas if you look at milk, milk can be used for different to produce butter, maybe tea, coffee, or whatever. But you have very non-specific requirement for that particular good. Factors of production: labor versus leisure. Why do we put in labor? Why do we work to, we put in labor to make tea? It's because it's the leisure that we want to enjoy. So we spend 10-15 minutes making tea, but we consume it in a very short duration, and that's the leisure part. So consumer goods, we go for consumption of goods and various goods because and we labor because we want to enjoy or consume leisure. So formation of capital, uh, capital goods, as I said, like if you want to make bread, you have to, first clear off land, and as higher order goods are related to lower order goods. For example, there is a shortage of bread right now in the market, and you want to increase the production of bread. So the first thing that you will require for increasing this production of bread is you will require more land, right? Or or you have to yeah, you have to increase more the amount of land which is available for production of wheat. So basically, when you take that land, you have to clear off that land and make it cultivable to grow wheat. So for that you will need to save certain of your food, like your bread, for that particular period till you get you can clear off the land, and then you can grow your wheat. You can sow your seeds, and the time for the wheat plants to grow, and till the time you get wheat, and you can actually get it to a point where you get the ovens and everything. So basically, here we can understand this from using a very simple methodology in economics that we use, the classicals and neoclassicals, they both use. It's called as the Robinson Crusoe economics, where we imagine a person called as Robinson Crusoe, and we put him in an isolated environment, in a, let's say, in a desert island or an island as big as Australia, where, and then we vary the various resources which are available to him. And we also introduce more people, and like Man Friday, or two different people, a king or slaves, and then we try to analyze. So imagine if Robinson Crusoe or that person is stuck in a desert island and he wants to make a boat. The first thing is he has to spend some time to find out what are the food available on his and naturally available to him for his consumption. So first thing that he has, and he will begin with, is human labor. So he will go around he will do a survey of that island and find out, like how much natural resources is available for his consumption at that point of time, and also for the future point of time. He will then, he has to find out, like he has to collect certain amount of food for his consumption, so he's going to expend certain time and labor against it. So let's say he goes and he finds berries, so he's going to it takes about 4 or 5 hours for him to collect the berries that is required to satisfy his hunger. uh, so he spends 5 hours in doing so. So that is the first production process that he has to undergo in order to survive. But to make the boat, he has to find out wood, he has to make tools, he has to make, let's say it's a raft, so he has to make ropes. So he has to find those resources as well, but these resources are going to cost him time. So he has to adjust something. uh, he has to, like for example, if he knows that if he works 5 hours and he gets so much berries, and he can only work for another 3 hours to make the boat, he will have to save certain berries in order that he can consume it when he has to reduce either his the amount of goods that he is consuming, or he has to change the nature or the process by which he is looking for goods. So he has to plan out those things, and he has to make time, and he has to give his body that amount of rest that is required to make the boat. So basically, if he starts saving some berries, let's say he consumes 200 berries every day, and let's say he's consuming 150 berries instead of 200, he's still going to survive, and he's going to save 50 berries. And after 4 days he will have 1 days of berries to consume, and but he doesn't have to go and search berries on that particular day, so he can put that time into production of that boat. So this is how he is going to manage or plan his escape, right? So this is what Crusoe will do, and the act of saving berries is what it is going to serve as a capital good for him. So whatever you're not consuming and saving for the future is a capital good for you. And as soon as you consume, like after the fourth day, when you are consuming that berry, that is an investment of that 200 berries that you had saved into a production process, which process is for building the boat. So yeah, do you have any questions? Oh wow, good. I'm not going into the technical matters. I will skip off. I will just look into certain questions. Now, here is one question, the question number 3. Suppose a man is strumming his guitar while sitting on a sidewalk in a large city, and his only purpose is to listen to the enjoyable music. How should guitar be classified? What if the passerby begin giving the man loose change so that he now views the guitar as a mean to earn money? Now, this is a question. So, how will you classify this guitar? Is it a consumer good? Is it a producer good? A capital good? Or what? Any guesses? Why will it be a consumer good? You're producing a song. Cool. So Kiran says that it started off as a consumer good, but now it's a production good. So yeah, I mean, goods have like as I said, it's pretty subjective, and this is one of the reasons why I prefer to use Menger's version of different order of good. And you have this non-specific nature of goods by which a nature of a good can change from a producer goods into a consumer goods and a consumer goods into a capital good. So basically, yeah, it will be a producer good to produce a song, and it will also serve as a capital good, but because he's investing on a guitar, he's playing it, and he's earning some revenue out of it. So it's also used as a capital good. So it's how you look at it. This is another point which I want to clear off. Imagine that a chemist measures 2 bottles of water and finds that the first contains 8.002 ounces of water, while the second bottle contains 8.001 ounces of water. The chemist concludes that the bottle of water are different, definitely different objects. How should economists treat them? Any guesses? Now, there is no. I will use Menger's version here. Uh, when we talk about goods, it's when we talk about goods. One thing we have to understand is we are talking about the exactly the same unit of goods. So when we are talking about water, it's not it's the quality of water. Like if it's a portable drinking water, or if it's a saline salt water, those two waters are different goods. But it is of the same quantity. If it is of the same quality, that good, if we consider them to be as different goods. Each successive unit, like here, we do not know that if the unit should be 8.002 or it should be 8.001 in that package bottle. So we do not know that claim, but definitely the unit or the quality of that water remains the same. It's the part of the same good. It might be a legal cause. Somebody had promised you 8.002 grams, and she is just giving you 8.001 ounces of water. So that is what the difference should be. I mean, that is the only difference. It might be a legal matter, but as goods, we will treat them as to be of the same goods, as the same object. For example, you have basmati rice and you have non-basmati rice. I don't know. It might be just a legal cause, like it's a point zero zero ounce. If it's a medicine, right? If I'm let's consider if it's not water but medicine, there it will matter, right? If I'm supposed to give you point 1 milligram of particular drug, but if I supply you point two and sorry 2 milligram, and that one milligram is going to differ, right? So but still, if I'm looking at the goods, it's the same goods, it's the same chemical. If I say cyanide, right? Cyanide, it's the same good. If I say copper sulfate of 99% purity, so 99% purity copper sulfate, if it comes in kgs or 100-gram packets, it's the same good, right? We can change the packaging of it. So if you have the same quality or the same unit of water, you're going to just simply change the unit. But if I'm promising you, like I'm going to supply you 100 kgs of copper sulfate, and I give you 99 kgs or 99.900 gram, I'm supplying you less of what I have promised you. So that is the only difference that we can have. But we cannot treat them as two different goods, because at the end of it, it's just copper sulfate, or it's just it's the good of the same quality, right? If I'm saying copper 99% purity, so it has to be copper 99 purity. It doesn't matter if it comes in tons, or if it comes in grams, or it will be exactly the same, right? It's not going to be a different good. But if I'm promising you, if there is a legality involved, a legal aspect involved, if I'm promising you a ton and I'm giving you something less for a ton, and you want to take me, you want to punish me, and you want to pay by the exact amount in grams that I've supplied you, so that's it. That's legal matter. That is how an economist should treat it. But yes, 99% purity copper and 95% purity copper, 50% purity copper block. Now these are of different quality, and this goods will be treated differently, right? I think it's clear. Cool. Here is another question. Okay, here is another question. What are the two ways that capital increases productivity? Here I should say capital goods. Here, how are the two ways that capital increases productivity? Uh, there are two ways. One is like you look at a process. When I talk about process, there are for example, if if Robinson Crusoe says that why should I go out of this island? This island has lot of berries for me, and I would prefer to stay over there here. So he has one production process choice where he will take a shorter duration of time, when I compare it to in manufacturing of the boat. And he's just going to pluck berries and he's going to eat those berries. He's going to spend 4 hours. He doesn't have to save those berries, and he's going to live off it happily. The other way is like the the other way is like he goes into production of let's say a stick to pluck the berries, by which he comes up with a clever idea by which he wants to make an axe, and that axe to chop down the berries, or that are the two ways that he can make an investment. And either he can increase the unit of goods which is available to him on by getting into that, by investing some capital, which is like time or labor, or some material that he has saved. Or he can choose for a shorter process which produces productive goods by which he lives off, and then he can enjoy longer leisure, longer period of leisure. So these are the two ways that capital works in increasing productivity. Direct exchange. Now we will come into exchanges. Direct exchange is basically barter system where one person is going to trade good for another good. Just give me 5 minutes. I will be just back. 5 minutes, if you don't mind. Good. Hello. Can you hear me?
Yeah, Mithun.
Yeah. Cool. So yeah, I'm talking about we will that there is a myth between in people that people exchange goods of equal value. That is untrue. Uh, Actually, people exchange goods which are of unequal value. That we give up goods that we value less against goods that we value more. Uh, so for example, if suppose you go into a supermarket and want to buy particular goods, and at the cash counter, let's say the good cost 1,000 rupees, and you have 1,000 rupees in your pocket, and you estimated that it will cost you 1,000 bucks, and somehow there was a discount or something, and you saved 50 bucks, and those goods that you have purchased, you could have kept that 100 bucks with you, that 1,000 bucks with you, but the goods that you purchased or you wanted to purchase, you valued them more than the 1,000 bucks that you gave away. Suppose there is a candy bar available at 5 bucks, and you have 50 bucks. So you will use that five. You want that candy bar of 5 rupees. So you're going to trade. You value it more than that 5 bucks that you have, and you're going to make that purchase. But then there are other things in that supermart as well. which you can consume. But you don't value them. You value that remaining 45 bucks that you have in your that the cashier is going to hand you back, and you take that money and you come out. So that means that that 45 bucks you valued more than the other goods, but you purchased or you made a purchase of those goods which were of higher value to it. So direct exchange is basically the barter exchange, and that's how initially we started trading, because different people possesses different kind of goods, different kind of knowledge, and as societies evolved, right, like 9,000 years ago, different professions came up. Like we know in the Harappan Valley of Mesopotamia and the pre-dynasty Egypt, that people had different professions. They were not hunter-gatherers like at one point of time every human being was a hunter-gatherer, and after that period everyone was into agriculture. But then we see potters, we see cobblers, we see carpenters, and different professions emerging as society got complex, and different and more capital goods were produced, and people specialized in uh, different technical know-how. Uh, Venkat Hari has a question: doesn't the value change depend on the seller or the buyer's perspective? Yes, it does, and we will look at it in the third chapter, where we look into the use value and the exchange value and the total goods on hold and stuff like that.
Okay. All right.
So this is what use value is: something where you have a use of one particular good. For example, if you have two or four horses and let's say one cow, and you use the horse for going down to the town, and you have your wife uses the second horse, and the third horse is sometimes, as a spare horse. That's three different horses you have, but you have one cow. And there is another neighbor who has five cows right now, and he uses three to milk, and the rest of the cows are he wants to give away. You want one cow, but he wants one horse. He doesn't. He has only one horse, and he also prefers to have another horse for his wife, so that they can go to the town. So there, here you will see that that the cow owner doesn't value his additional unit of two cows. I mean, one cow is for his use, one horse is what they require for one cow, and one horse is what they require at the most. The additional unit they value less than the initial unit. So, and maybe they have a use of the additional two cows. Maybe they don't have as much use as the first cow, or the two cows that the cow owner had. And this is where a situation of exchange is possible, where the person with an extra horse might be, willing to give away that horse in exchange for a cow, or whatever they see that value fits in. Like, no, I want one horse is equal to two cows. I need two cows to give away my, one horse. So those kind of things will take place by bargain. But if you look at it, like if the cow owner exchanges cow against horses, they are actually getting better off. I mean, their needs are optimally being serviced, right? So that is the reason that why we trade, because the two parties, both the parties are actually gaining from the trade. So they expect to benefit from voluntary exchanges, and that is why they exchange. It might be like you purchase the cow today, and you had an intention that this cow you're going to milk it, and sorry, you are going to get additional milk and stuff, and you are going to start a dairy farm business. And that cow died in 10 the next day, bitten by a snake. So I mean, it doesn't matter. Like, you will say that exchange was a loss, but that is not what you had initially when you made that is not what you had in your mind initially when you made that exchange. You made that exchange because you saw certain benefit in making that trade. So that is how it works. trade fosters into division of labor. Like for example, the person who is a cow owner but doesn't have as many horses. If you look in a barter economy, they would be more into like they will have additional supply of cow. I mean cows will give them milk, so they will require a certain amount of milk for their own use, right? A liter or two. This will be the use value of that particular cow milk, and the other units they would like to exchange it. So those goods, those units of milk will be for exchange purposes, and it will have an exchange value, right? So if for some reason just has 2 liters of milk, and let's say the other milk that he was hoping to exchange, and he does not get that much production from the cows, he won't be going for any exchange, but he will be using whatever he has for his own use. He is going to utilize that material for himself. So use value, beyond use value, when you have an excessive production, or you find that those goods can be exchanged for other goods, and we as human beings, we require other goods as well. Let's consider the horse owner. The horse owner does not have milk, but all he can do is, because cows travel, I mean horses travel much faster to the town, they can fetch up, and for a longer distance as well. They will be into, they will act as suppliers, where they will go to their nearest town or different villages, and they will try to bring in goods from there, and they will try to sell it against to the cow owners, to against milk or different milk products like butter or something, and they might sell it into some other places. uh, that is how it's all going to, they might use those horses to ferry wood, or to take grains and sell it to a bigger market. So this is how the barter system works. And like and because we are specializing with whatever we own, we specialize into certain skills. We acquire certain skills by experience, and by doing certain things over and over, we tend to master it or become experts in it. And we also experiment, and innovate our productive how we do production of those goods. So that creates a distinct difference between two different individuals by their practical knowledge, or their skills, or their natural born abilities. And you will observe that a person who is an expert in one particular thing, if you assign that task to that person, he will do a much better, and in a much faster time than you can. Like for example, we both know how to milk a cow. We both know how to make a stool out of a wooden piece. But carpenters and dairy farm owners, they have specialized in all those in those skills and that trade. So they do it in a much better way than what we would do, or we would be doing. So that's how the division of labor comes in, and how, and also why different people tend to produce different types of goods and exchange it, rather than specializing in everything. Now there is something, right, as you were saying, that buyers and sellers have their own perspective. That is true. Buyers will try to buy at the lowest possible value, and the sellers will try to, buy at the and sell at the highest price. But there is a problem that when I mean uh, the buyers and the sellers will have a different valuation or different expectation against that against the goods they want in return. So what they will do, now this value scales, or the scale of values, should match. So there will be a process of bargaining, and that is when their value scales will be equal. At that point of time, like not I mean the value scale, like you want to buy that particular good in exchange of this particular good. At that point you will make the trade. So basically, this point where the actual trade happens, we arrive at a price. It is not till that point of time that we arrive at a price. So one cow for two horses will be the price of a cow. One cow is equal to two horses, or you know, in that fashion. But you cannot have half a cow. So uh, that is another thing about goods, that certain goods are homogeneous and you cannot break them into half half pieces. Uh, the cow can also be exchanged against grain. So 10 bags of grains, rice for a cow. So that cow can be also expressed in two horses or 10 bags of grains. So this is also like this is how money evolves. We will look into the later chapter how money comes in when in direct exchange. But this is how in a barter economy the prices will be set. Like a particular good will be put like offered for X amount of milk, X amount of butter, or X amount of firewood, or against animal and stuff, or meat, bread, and their prices will be expressed against other goods. So, and I mean, is it clear, this part? Cool. Now Rothbard also talks about in his book. He also brings in some I mean the factor of state or coercion, or how involuntary exchanges also take place. Now economics is here when we are looking at the price process, we are not looking at we are looking at a voluntary scale, right? Like for example, if you have something, you show me that thing and you will ask me like how much do you want to buy it for, and I will offer you whatever goods I have in exchange, and if we would agree, we will have that exchange. But involuntary exchange, or and interpersonal exchanges which are based on violence, where you hold a gun against my head and you say that I'm just going to offer you one horse against one cow. Yes, and I have to make that exchange. That's not a voluntary market phenomenon as such, and it has to be considered as a non-voluntary and a coerced action. I call it a robbery. and it is what it is, right? So he talks about the nature of society before he applies this he makes this distinction in society, where he looks at certain exchanges which are voluntary, and we know that there are involuntary interpersonal actions where violence is involved, or the threat of violence is involved. And these are hegemonic relationships, where certain people have established themselves as masters, and the other people are exploited by them. So here, here in this type of society, the masters always benefit from their slaves. This is also the foundation of the Austrian class theory. Unlike the Marxian class theory, the Austrians have a two class theory. One is called as the parasitic class, and the other class is called as the host class. So there is a very small number of people who are parasitically and systematically exploiting the host class. So host class is basically the productive class who is working. He's making some production. They are producing goods which are demanded in the market. There is other kind of people who says that this is bad, or they bring in ethics or something in between, and they don't do it. They forbid them, or they interfere into from doing that. So this is what he talks about, like the unhampered market is where you don't have any kind of coercion, and how the state comes in. This is something which we will cover later on, and when we discuss about the history of man and how state came into existence and stuff. The equilibrium price. I mean, here as I say, I was explaining, Rothbard also explains this, like one cow for 1,000 berries. Berry price of cow is one cow is 500 berries. So in a barter economy, the prices will be explained in against prices of other goods which are commonly explained. So equilibrium price is the price range where different people come on to trade. There will be various cow sellers. There will be different berry sellers. There will be different amount of buyers coming for looking for in the market to buy particular goods. So there will be a bargaining process where somebody some people would be offering 500 berries for one cow, and there might be people who are offering 450 berries for that particular cow. So basically, there will be other cow sellers also. There will be some cow sellers who will have an expectation that they will sell at 600 berries, and there will be cow owners who will think that they will sell at 450 berries. So there will be a negotiation or an interaction between this people, right? So they will arrive at a price which will be at a, like, the first unit of cow will sell at a price which is higher than the uh, last unit of cow. But the price range, as this buyers are aware of how many people are looking to buy that good and how many suppliers are supplying that goods. So there is an intersection, or there is a price which is reached where all the goods are exchanged between them, which will be somewhere around between the last the least offered price and somewhere in between the highest offered price. So that is how the market behaves, and this is what we call as the Marshallian cross, or the supply and demand intersection. And this intersection point where the goods have traded between the sellers and that those particular goods which has taken the exchange had taken place, that particular price is something what we call as the equilibrium price. This equilibrium price is quite important for certain in economics, because here one we know that certain buyers and sellers value scale have matched, and this is one point which is we know that the exchange has taken place. The previous owners have sold their good, and there are new owners, and it has taken place at a one particular price. So the people who have not yet exchanged, they look into, they reanalyze their expectations and their value scales, and they decide, like, there might be a seller who was planning to sell at 600. He sees that he finds that the price at which one cow traded is not at 650, and he has to lower his price because there are two other person who has come up to sell cows. So he is going to adjust his value scale, and maybe he's going to trade at the equilibrium price, or maybe the buyers will see that yeah, now there are two cows left, and the first cow has gone for less than 650, so we can bring the price down, and the next cow we will make a purchase at let's say 525. So this is how the market works. This is how the market clears. But there is a tendency that there will be one price at which the maximum amount of goods will be traded, something like the average price of the of where the maximum goods will take place. So equilibrium is a point where the buyers and the seller are actually aware of what took place in the market, and it can be said to be a specific at a state of rest, or a position where the value scales of certain buyers and sellers have matched, and by that price the different people will change their expectations, or will we get to know what or become aware of what is going on in the market. Like, if there is a rise in price, we know that where the demand is going, and if there is a drop in price, we know that uh, you know there is an oversupply of goods, and we adjust our prices accordingly, or value scale accordingly. Any questions? There is something called as a schedule, supply schedule and demand schedule. It's something where, you know, at one particular in the market the prices keep on changing, right? So the let's say there are 10 cows which cleared at 600 berries, so we will say that the supply schedule was of 600 cows at 500 berries. So that is the it's a tabular representation of prices. And equilibrium, this is something which most economists tend for. They believe that there's a tendency of one price to rule over market, and that every goods, which is like every buyer and every seller, will be, you know, able to sell those goods at one particular price if you know, if all their expectation and everything is uh, if is correct, or they came with a perfectly, you know, perfect value scale in their mind, and they would have sold in one particular, like everyone would have agreed on one particular price, and every buyer would have purchased those goods, and every seller would have purchased every seller would have sold that good. But this kind of equilibrium is impossible, and such equilibrium theories is something that Adam Smith calls it as invisible hand. And then we have the neoclassicals and the classicals, they call is as equilibriums. And we have Hayekians who call them as spontaneous order, that there is a tendency of, you know, moving towards order. And we will see later on, like when we discuss and in further discussions, why equilibrium is possible, where it is possible, and where it is impossible. So it's certainly not possible in overall in the market, and there are reasons why, because there is a always a disequilibrium factor. Like some people may not change their value scales. They might like to wait for, you know, they would prefer to not to sell their goods at a lower price rather than sell it. So it's impossible. That is one of the reasons that such prices cannot be reached. But Keynesians and neoclassicals, they try to you know, use intervention and try to, you know, do price fixings or cost fixing to keep it into equilibrium. So I mean, this doesn't really work, but it creates some other kind of distortions. Elasticity of demand. Elasticity of demand is uh, either elastic or inelastic. What this means is, for example, let's say there are two goods. One is diamond, and the other one is potatoes. So let's say there is a price rise of the price of potato went up by 10%, and let's say the price of diamond also went up by 10%. Now potato is a good which is you know, is inelastic, because what we mean by inelastic is, like, if there is a price change to the higher side or the lower side, like by 10%, if there is an increase in the price of potatoes, we do not see a 10% decrease or more than 10% decrease in the demand for potatoes. Certainly there will be a little, you know, lesser demand, but it's not going to be 10% because of the nature or the character of that particular good. Whereas if you look in the case of diamond, the diamond is, if it goes up by 10%, the demand might fall down more than 15% or 20%. Less people would be, you know, willing to buy diamond at that particular price. So we see that diamond in this scenario is inelastic good. At most luxurious goods are inelastic goods. So that's how that is what the elasticity of demand is. There is another possibility, like a 10% increase will make a fall of you know, bring about a fall of 10% in the demand side. That will be unit elastic. So these are the three types of elasticity in demands and supply. Basically, we look into the demand side, and we deal with the elasticity of demand rather than the elasticity of supply. Speculations, I mean, speculation is something which, as I said, like as soon as the equilibrium price is price is reached, there will be some people, some certain buyers and sellers would have sold their goods, but there will be other buyers and sellers who would be expecting a price rise or a price fall. So a stock and the total demand to hold. This is something which total stock. When we talk about total stock or total demand, this is something where a person would have produced certain goods. For example, a farmer produces grains, right? Let's say he has 100 tons of harvest. He would like to keep 1 ton with him, that good he wants to hold, so that he can recultivate that, he can reuse those grains to grow for the next cycle, whereas the rest of the goods will be the stock that he wants to sell off or exchange for other goods. So this total demand will be the addition of this one particular stock that he wants to hold onto, and the demand that other people who are looking for grains, who wants to buy the grains for it. Okay, Amrinder, take care. Thanks. Bye. So that's the demand for hold, and this both are added in the demand curve. So in the real world, the market prices keep on changing. Specialization of stock production. I mean, if there are people in the market who are expecting that the prices will rise, then they would like to hold their stock. So that's one thing. And then there are types of exchangeable goods. For example, if you are buying cow, I mean, cow is not as exchangeable good as when you compare it to steel, right? So there might be there might be steel produce there will be cow sellers who will sell the cow against steel, and they will sell steel to some other places, and that is also money emerges in the market, that certain goods are more exchangeable than other goods. For example, glasses. The glasses is some. I mean, I expect magnifying glasses, for instance, is not a very exchangeable goods when you compare it with a hammer. So hammer is more exchangeable good. So these are there will be different amount of there different types of goods, and their exchangeability will also change as per their utilities and stuff. So property here, uh, Rothbard brings in the labor theory of land of property. Now there are two things, as there is a labor theory of value, and there is a labor theory of property. Labor theory of value is like if you put in more labor into one particular in a particular in particular production, you will have that should cost more, but that is not the case. I mean, labor depends on specialization, right? Like, for example, if I hire people to lift bags from the ground and load into a truck, this is something which takes no skill, and most people would be aware of this, would already possess this kind of skill, and they know how to do it. But if I am looking for somebody who is going to make me a product like Google Map, and where I want notifications or traffic maps or heat maps, this is a kind of knowledge and skills which not many people possess, right? So there will be difference in rates as well, and the amount of people. I mean, if now this knowledge, if it is commonly available between to various people, like then again that labor would not be as much in demand. So that is one thing. That is the labor theory of value, which the classical economists like Adam Smith had, and which we found out like it does after at the in the marginal revolution that it was incorrect and fallacious. And so was the Marxian theory, which revolved around the um, the theory of labor theory of value. Uh, but when we talk about the labor theory of property is different. Like you have unclaimed land to begin with, right? Like when man migrated out of Africa, settled out in different places, you would look that they had villages. Now, initially, if you look, like it's all jungle and jungle and barren land. So when man settled, they cleared off those lands. So basically, what they were doing is they were expensing their time and their labor into transforming the natural resources, the unclaimed resources, and appropriating them and converting into houses, fields, communities, and villages, roads, and wells, and so on and so forth. So basically, what people understand or we understand is what when we transform this, we realize that a person's lifespan and his labor is something which is valuable to him, and we should respect that particular their labor, the fruits of their labor. So the labor theory of property is like man. It's an normative ethics or a deontological concept where if a man is spending his time, his labor on creating certain thing out of natural resources or any resources, that particular goods belongs to him. So that is a common reasoning or understanding, or you can say a factor that we human beings have, and we human beings understand that we do it. So property theory is like Rothbard says that when man acquires property, like everything is nature given, right? Like nature given, like fields are not nature given. We mix our labor to convert that land into fields. Houses are not nature given, so we expense our labor, our time, and we make that changes, so that house belongs to us. So basically, Rothbard's theory or the property theory of labor is you come to appropriate goods by adding your labor into it. There is another theory which revolving this is where the first finder is the keeper. Now this is for certain goods, like for example, if you have if you have found a unclaimed apple and you pick it up first, then that apple belongs to you. So that is another theory, or the first use theory that people have. So once you mix your labor, Rothbard considers that your labor is mixed into that particular transformation, and it cannot be undone with. So it belongs to you forever. I mean, till you use it or you do not disown that particular property. It's going to be your property. Invasion of property, again, like what property rights are, like this is owned by you, so there has to be some enforcement, like governmental rule, or let's say some protection that you may have against theft, fraud, or externalities, contracts. So this is what the labor theory of property basically deals with. And the third thing is it starts, or Rothbard starts it from the self-ownership axiom that you own it, so you make the choices of taking the risk or not taking the risk, or how much labor to mix and not mixing the labor. So you actually decided and took the risk of expensing your labor to transform these resources. So there is all moral and ethical or deontological or reasonable reasons why you should own that property. So yeah, so that's the chapter 1 and chapter 2. I think we will call it a day for today, and chapter 3 and 4 we will look in the next Saturday. There is a question: do praxeological laws apply in situations of isolation versus society? Certain laws which are same in society. I mean, if you are living in a crowd or if you are living in an isolated society, the laws of which governs the individual is always the same. I mean, you have to make time to do production. You have to save capital to engage in manufacturing of capital good, which increases the production of goods. Even if you are alone in an isolated island, you will do some labor and you will enjoy leisure as well. So that's something where the laws of economics remain same, whether or not you are in an isolation or in a society. Even laws like the laws of return and the diminishing law of marginal utility. It doesn't matter if you are in a desert or if you are living in a crowded city. It will be the same for you. So, do you have any questions? Hello. Okay, then we'll call it a day. Thank you very much for joining, and I hope to see you, Chandragupta and Venkatahari, in the next lecture as well. And by the way, there is another lecture we are doing on Keynesianism and post-Keynesianism, and that's on the Manchester group. But the timings will be odd for you. It starts at 5:30 a.m. in India. So this is our institute's link. Our events are posted over there, so you can check it out.
Thanks for this. Yeah.
Thank you very much for joining, friends. Bye and good night.